Hey everybody, and welcome back to Just a Mental Note, and welcome to 2021. Whoa! I know that at least for me, 2020 was one of the worst years of my life, and I am so happy to see it gone. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Devin, and I make videos all about mental health and chronic illness. I'll leave a couple of videos in the description down below so that way you can get a little bit of information on me, but there's also an About Me paragraph that kind of gives you a whole overview of me, my educational background, and kind of why I decided to make this YouTube channel. With it being the start of a new year, people often make New Year's resolutions. I know that a lot of people have kind of strayed away from them this year since 2020 kind of flipped our lives upside down, and really trying to plan for the future is hard. It's hard for a lot of people right now. However, I still think that it's very important for you to be able to sit down and periodically set goals for yourself, kind of decide what direction you want your life to go in, what changes you want to make in your life, and what better time to do that than the beginning of a new year. So today I'm going to be telling you all about my personal New Year's resolutions or goals, but I'm also going to be teaching you how to set better goals so that way these goals can actually become achievable. A lot of times when people think of New Year's resolutions, they think of like these huge, hefty goals, and people don't actually plan for how they're going to make that happen. With New Year's resolutions, people think, new year, new me, I have to change everything. And that's just not possible, and nobody can keep that up. That is why you have so many people drop off of their New Year's resolutions only a few months, or heck, even a few days into the new year. Have you dropped your New Year's resolution yet because you realized it was just too big and you had no plan to make it work? It happens. It happens to all of us. One way to make sure that you can actually achieve your New Year's resolutions this year are to make SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym. Each letter breaks down to a specific attribute that you should have for all of your goals. The S stands for specifics, and this means that you have to know exactly what your goal is. Having a very vague goal like getting in shape or paying off all your debt without having any real way of knowing how you're going to do that isn't helpful. You need to make sure that your goals are specific so that way when you get them, you can say, yes, I did that. If you just say, get in better shape, well, how do you know when that has happened? Or if you just say, I want to read more, really, what does that mean? Try to give yourself more specific goals as opposed to very vague ones. The M stands for measurable, and this means that you need to figure out how you're going to measure your progress. You need to be able to look at yourself now and look at yourself in the past and see an actual difference. If your goal is to go to the gym more, you could say, I want to go to the gym 1 time a week. That is measurable, and you can count as many times as you do that. You need to make sure that your goals, again, were specific so that way you know what you're trying to gain, but also measurable so that way you can know in your brain when you've actually moved up, when you're achieving something, when you're moving towards that goal. If you don't have any way to measure your progress, then how do you know you're really progressing? The A stands for achievable, and this means that the goals that you make have to be actually possible for you. I can't make a goal that I'm going to run a marathon this year when I can't move because of my hips still hurting. That's not achievable for me. People often give themselves such big goals, and it discourages them because they're not achievable. They want to get to 0% body fat. Well, that's not possible for anybody, and then you get discouraged when you don't get there. You have to make sure that whatever goals you're making, you can actually achieve. The R stands for relevant. If your goals aren't relevant to you, your life, your interests, you're not going to keep up with them. If they're not relevant to moving you forward in the direction that you want to go, you're not going to do it. You don't want to give yourself just all of these random goals that aren't going in a certain direction. You don't want to give yourself a bunch of goals in a bunch of different directions because then you're not going to be able to achieve all of them. You need to pick goals that are relevant to you, to your lifestyle, to your life choices, to where you want to be, all of those sorts of things. But your goals need to be relevant to you. If they're not, you're not going to do them. And the T stands for time bound. And this just means that you have to have some sort of time restraint, time restriction. When do you want to achieve this goal by? It's a lot easier to keep progressing and keep track of that progress when you have these deadlines almost on your goals, where you have these timelines of this is when I want to get this done by so I can start moving on to this. It really helps you move in the right direction as opposed to just saying, oh yeah, I'll get to that eventually, if you don't have any deadline on yourself. So those are what SMART goals are. They're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I've kept all 5 of those things in mind when making my goals for this year. I don't have them exactly down. I'm not perfect either, but really you want to try to keep in mind those 5 attributes when you're making your own New Year's resolutions. So now that you know what SMART goals are, try to apply that to your specific New Year's resolutions and let me know down in the comments what you want to achieve this year. Now I'm going to be sharing with you a few of my New Year's resolutions, a few of the goals that I want to achieve within this next year. The first one is that I want to become a more ethical consumer. Now that means to me, I don't want to buy from places that use prison labor because that is essentially modern day slavery. I want to shop from brands that are more sustainable, that aren't fast fashion, that aren't just trying to get out as much product as possible without worrying about the environmental impacts. I want to try to shop from places that care about their environmental impact and are trying actively to make it better even in this consumerism culture. I'm also really focusing on using only cruelty-free brands and trying to go completely vegan with all of my beauty products and those sorts of things. Now, the majority of products that I use that aren't vegan are because they use honey in them or they use beeswax, and I personally don't have a problem using either of those ingredients, so I'm okay with it. But I personally don't want to use any products that had to be either tested on animals or an animal had to die in order to get that thing. For example, in a lot of makeup, there's a thing called carmine, which is made from crushed up beetles. It is a very red colored dye and it's used in a lot of makeup, and I don't want that on my face. That's really gross to me. This year it's really, really important to me to focus on not only what I'm buying, but where I'm buying it from and the ethics behind the companies that I am spending my money on. As I become an adult and learn more, and it's very complicated. It's really, really hard to be an ethical consumer. It's really hard. But I'm trying, and that's all I can ask. And those 3 things are really how I'm going to try to become a more ethical consumer. I'm going to be choosing cruelty-free and vegan products. I'm going to be trying to avoid places that use prison labor, and I'm going to be trying to shop from brands that are more sustainable. My second New Year's resolution is to work towards figuring out my health. At this point, we are now 4 or 5 months into this hip pain, and I couldn't tell you what it is or when it's going to stop. I do have an appointment coming up at the end of this month with my doctor to try another treatment, but I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work. To be completely honest, I don't have a lot of hope. But it is very, very important for me this year to continue to advocate for myself and keep going to these doctor's appointments. I have a lot of anxiety when it comes to the doctor. I don't like going to the doctor at all. So it's very important for me this year to push myself to go to these doctor's appointments and advocate for myself, to stand up for myself when they're doing something that either I'm not comfortable with, or a lot of doctors will brush off people with chronic illnesses to say, oh, well, it's just what it is. I don't know what's wrong with you, so you're fine. No, I'm not fine. I am in pain every single day, and I need to continue to advocate for myself and keep pushing to try to figure out what's wrong. I can't necessarily say that I will know exactly what's wrong with me by the end of this year, but I can say that I will keep pushing and keep working towards figuring it out because it hurts. It hurts, and it would be really nice to not deal with this every day. My third New Year's resolution is specific to YouTube, and that is essentially that I want this channel to grow. If I could, this is my goal by the end of the year, and I'm crossing my fingers, I'll knock on some wood, because I don't know if it's gonna happen. It doesn't happen to everybody, but I would really like to be able to monetize this channel by the end of this year. Now, that doesn't mean I'm taking money from any of you guys. YouTube monetization just means that I am able to put ads and make ad revenue off of the videos that I make. I know that a lot of people have come up to me and asked me how much money I make. I've had people come and tell me that I am exploiting people with mental illness for financial gain. As of right now, I don't make any money from this. I have not made 1 cent. I've actually spent money on this channel between editing software and equipment and all of those sorts of things. So I don't make any money off of this channel right now, but it would be really nice to be able to do that. I don't necessarily need to be like a huge YouTuber that makes crazy amounts of money or anything like that, but just simple channel monetization is really, really my goal for this year. And in order for a channel to be monetized, they have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And it's a long shot. I know that. I know it might not happen. Even if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna continue doing this for you guys because I love it so much. I love sharing all of this information, but it would also be cool. It'd be really cool, I'm not gonna lie. So I would love for that to happen. I also have one more goal in regards to this channel, and that is to get all of my videos captioned. I am currently in the process of doing that. I really wanted to get it done before the end of 2020, but my mental health hasn't been the best at the moment. So I'm trying, I'm doing my best, but it is very, very important for me to get all of my past videos and then as I go, get all of my videos captioned. So that way people who rely on closed captioning can also interact with all of us. I don't want to exclude anybody. So that's another really big goal for my channel this year, is to make sure that I have all of my videos captioned. My 4th New Year's resolution is that I really need to focus better on my self-care. I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling a lot. I have now been in this apartment with my husband for almost 10 months. I have not been able to interact with anybody else unless I was at a doctor's office. The only place I have gone is the doctor's office. And that's just a place of really high anxiety for me. So like, I'm struggling. This is hard. I know that I'm very lucky and I try not to complain too much. I have a place to live. I have a roof over my head. I have an amazing husband. But I'm struggling, and I really need to get back to focusing on self-care and making sure that I'm okay. Because if I'm not okay, I can't do the other things that I love. I can't take care of my dogs. I can't do this YouTube channel. I can't do anything if I'm not mentally okay. I can't be there for my husband, all of those sorts of things. So it's really important for me to focus on my mental health and focus on my self-care this year. And that means getting back into journaling, getting back into meditating, continuing my therapy, and getting on a better sleep schedule. Because my sleep schedule is all over the place. But journaling and meditating have been very helpful in the past, and I kind of dropped off of them. I think this whole pandemic just got to me and I didn't want to do it anymore. With journaling, it was like, what's the point in writing down what happens every day when literally I'm stuck inside? It's the same thing every single day, so what's the point? The point is that it helps, and it helps my mental health, and it helps my brain to process all of these feelings and emotions, and that's important. So it is very important for me this year to focus on the things that make me feel good. Journaling, meditating, and getting that better sleep schedule in, because my goodness, my sleep schedule is all over the place. My last New Year's resolution that I'm going to share with you guys also has to do with my mental health, but it's that I really want to connect with people more. I have a problem with being in my own head. I kind of can only be halfway in a conversation. I'll be talking to somebody and my brain will be halfway with you and halfway somewhere else. And I really want to focus on connecting and being present in the moment when I'm with people. And I think meditating is going to be really helpful with that, because the practice of mindfulness just makes you more present. But I also want to make sure that I am reaching out to people more often. Quarantine has been very, very lonely. I love my husband, but we tell each other all the time, if I could see literally anybody's face right now, that would be great. Because I love you, I love your face, but I would like to be able to interact with people other than him. You know, I think that's normal. So I think it's really important for me to stay on top of these FaceTime hangouts or these Zoom calls or whatever it is that I want to do to connect with the people around me. I have a friend who comes by occasionally and I will sit up on my 3rd floor balcony and she is down on the ground and I'll talk to her. So there are a couple things that I've already done, but I really need to get better at. I need to make sure that I am connecting with the people around me and also being present in the moment when I'm connecting with them. Because if I am FaceTiming with my friend, but I'm also on the computer watching YouTube videos the entire time, I'm not connecting with that person. I really need to make sure I'm connecting with the people around me, so that way I don't feel so dang isolated all the time. I know that this pandemic isolated a lot of us, but There are so many ways to connect over technology right now, and I need to make sure that I'm taking advantage of those. So those are all of my New Year's resolutions. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I love you all so much, and I'm so excited for what this year is going to bring, not only for me personally and for this channel, but just for all of us. I think that it's gonna be a good year. It's at least gonna be a better year. It better be. Again, make sure that you leave down in the comments below what your SMART goals are for this next upcoming year. This is the part where I tell you, if you haven't already, to smash that like button for me, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that way you will know every single time a video has been posted. I'm going to be continuing my posting schedule into this year, as far as I'm aware. So I post every Tuesday and Friday at 11 a.m. and I would love it if you joined me. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I love you all. Here's to the new year. I'll see you next time.